Unlike what the Israeli government wants you to believe, not every single Jewish person supports the Israeli government. You have thousands upon thousands of Jewish people that speak out against the Israeli government and what they do to Palestinians and other people around them. But according to Zionists, these people are not considered real Jews. The only true Jews are the ones that support the Israeli government no matter what they do. And if you don't, you're a fake Jewish person, which, if anybody else were to say something like that a Jewish person is fake for not supporting, one thing, they would be considered anti-Semitic. So why aren't Zionists considered anti-Semitic for calling Jewish people fake? That's a good question, in my opinion.
Have been raised and to continue the discussion. Thank you.
Again, I pray to the Almighty to bestow upon me His truth, His wisdom, that I may convey His message and so sanctify His name and bring peace to the world. My beard, as you see, is white, and I've been sitting in the halls and in the rooms of the United Nations for many, many years. I've seen the frustration, heard the frustration of many countries, of many distinguished people of organizations who keep on pleading and questioning the normality and how it's possible that we can witness this genocide, this unbelievable genocide, where there's so many human rights groups and the world in the United Nations should allow this. Yet it's going on, and I'm lauding all of you, these organizations and the lawyers who are fighting it, and it's clear, it's clear as day and night that it is unacceptable, that it is murder and inhumane, and yet it's happening. But I would like,
Dude, I want a Zionist to try to claim that this dude is a fake Jew for not supporting the Israeli government. He definitely doesn't seem like a fake Jew in my opinion, though my opinion doesn't really matter on that fact. But this is this is a guy who is Jewish and doesn't support the Israeli government. He is actively speaking out against what they're doing. But again, a Zionist, either a Christian Zionist or an Israeli Zionist, will claim that this dude is not really Jewish.
to take a look at the elephant in the room, and everybody understands this. There's a reason why you're saying the will of humanity allows it to happen, and is because, as we mentioned yesterday, and they mentioned today about the apartheid, it was stopped because it was the grassroots. People just made their politicians uncomfortable. The people in the United States and in Europe have bought in from day one, because the Holocaust happened, and almost immediately afterwards they ratified the creation of the State of Israel. So it's based on one issue, that people accept that it is against Jews if you stop the State of Israel. It's anti-Semitic. And they also accept that the people who are opposed to the state, that they're evil, and it's acceptable what the State of Israel is doing. There has
Yeah, he is correct on that. Like the creation of Israel happened shortly after World War II and the Holocaust, and that anybody who claims to be against what the Israeli government is doing to people are evil. So are Zionists actually going to claim that this dude and the other rabbis against the Israeli government and all the other Jewish people against what the Israeli government is doing are actually evil people?
to be you should delve in as lawyers. There should be like a class action, something to talk about. How, like I was just in Morocco, I mentioned, and now we were in Yemen, we were in all these countries, in Egypt. All these countries had Jews living there. They were living in peace. It is not anti-Semitic. They should fight the state of Israel on this issue, that they are abusing the word of anti-Semitism. As lawyers, you may say, where does that come into your field? It must come into the field because that is the underlying reason why the United States and why Europe, they are allowing Israel to go on, even though they're committing atrocities. Because just like you can take insecticide and spray it on a field to get rid of the ants, they have dehumanized the Palestinian people like the ants in a field because
Yep, that is what the Israeli government has been doing for decades, dehumanizing Palestinians and treating them like they're not even ants, lesser than ants. And Netanyahu and many other Zionists will openly speak about how they don't see Palestinians as humans. They see them as something lesser. And that is just straight up racism. And Palestinians are Semitic speaking people, so anybody who is racist towards Palestinians technically are anti Semitic.
they vilified them to the degree that they're inhumane. Why? Because they labeled them anti-Semitic and we have a religious conflict. Fight that. Stand up and declare that there is a distinct difference between Judaism and Zionism, that all these countries accept the Jews, and we have nothing against Jews. They're against a new creation called Zionism, which is a purely political, materialistic, nationalistic concept that's flawed and selfish. That is where you must.
Yeah, he is correct. And all the other Jewish people speaking out about Zionism in Israel are correct. uh, Zionism and Judaism are not the same thing. That would be like claiming that Nazism and Christianity is the same thing, and if you speak out against Nazis, that must mean you hate all Christians. How, like in any world, how would that make sense whatsoever to claim that somebody speaking out against Nazism is anti-Christian? Were the people fighting against Nazis during World War II anti-Christian? No.
Stand up and make court cases about this and stand up. If you'll just think for 1 second, just bear with me 1 minute, you have in the United States, the United Nations, when they created a state of Israel, please explain to me how they could create a state where they're looking for a peaceful coexistence in a land, and they declared under the name of a certain religion, meaning that the people who are of the different religions, who are of the other religions, they'll automatically be psychologically second-class citizens. How did they create the United Nations was created to make peace? Why did they give it a name, a Jewish state?
Oh, he is truly correct about that. Um, the moment that they declared that there is a Jewish state, yeah, they were declaring that anybody that wasn't Jewish and living in that area were bad people for not being Jewish.
But they did it because it was right after the Holocaust, where everybody had guilt of being, they were silenced by the Holocaust. But now the world realizes they were duped. It's not Judaism. Judaism is to serve God and not to occupy, and it's forbidden to occupy. And that the rabbinical authorities around the world, Sephardic and Ashkenazic, the very religious, demand that it was unacceptable to use the name Judaism for this nationalist, flawed, and illegal and against God occupation of land. It's illegal. It's not our religion. It has to be readdressed. It has to be changed. It's not a state of Israel. It's a state of a selfish occupation that is not Semitic, and that's against, and the people opposing them anti-Semitic. You have to fight this legal concept of anti-Semitism. You were talking about in the United States that the students are getting all thrown out. Why? Because they're declaring them anti-Semitic. The president declares that the senators who are supporting this became Palestinians. You heard that. We can't allow that. You must fight it at its root. Stand up, somehow find an avenue, an approach that this anti-Semitism is not legally not acceptable at all to talk about. God will help. We will distinguish between the two. Then we will see clearly, unpeel this onion, and see that it is a simple, selfish occupation. It must be stopped, and we will have, with God's help, a free Palestine.
Yeah, dude, I respect this dude a whole lot. He's going to the UN and fucking talking about how wrong the Israeli government is and how the UN should not be supporting this, which most in the UN do not support the Israeli government anymore. But it is definitely not anti-Semitic to be against an occupying government. It would be like saying that any like anybody that doesn't support any government that isn't that is it would be like saying that anybody that is against a government committing a genocide is racist, and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. um I mean, you it's just it just not it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And this dude is totally correct on what he's talking about. Judaism and Zionism are not the same thing. Supporting the Israeli government doesn't automatically make you a good person, and being against what the Israeli government is doing doesn't make you anti Semitic, because it's not racist to be against a government committing a genocide.
Thank you.